Hi everyone, this is week 10 and we will continue to engage in the step process of the health model. As you know, these are our learning outcomes for module 7, which involves 4 weeks, week 8, 9, 10, and 11. So in week 8, we talked about the learning outcomes, and in week 9, we started developing those broader learning outcomes for the whole course unit, as well as focusing on one session of one of the modules of your online course unit. So this week, we will engage in the nitty-gritty of the process, which is where you start to develop the one learning material to illustrate how your online course would look like. For that, it is important that you continue focusing on what you have done before, especially on the storyboarding of that one session that you have already planned. So the idea is that by week 12, you present the learning material as well as your course outline. And then we will provide you with feedback, which is a part of the steps of the health model, which is called reality check. As usual, we have some reflective prompts that you might want to think about, whether you're working in groups or individually. It is important that you consider different prompts to get you thinking about the different processes, the different steps that you have engaged with, and think about what your learning is and how you would implement this learning in the future. This is a reminder of the health model. So we have gone through steps 1, 2, and this week and next week we will do step 3, but we will also today talk about the reality check and the evaluation steps. Now, reality check, this is something that we will do, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, in week 12, when we present our course outline and learning material. And the evaluation, well, that is hard to achieve because we are actually not implementing the course unit. But we can talk about what things you could do if you were to implement your course unit and want to obtain feedback in order to evaluate it. This is the overview of the session. And let's start with step 3, online activity development. Well, this is an important step because after we have done our storyboarding for one of the sessions of one of our modules of our course outline, we really want to then start developing those materials. And the storyboarding plan is important because it will guide you to, guide the process of what it is that we need to start with first, second, third, and so on. Course design process is not linear. We're always going back and forth, back and forth. And that's precisely the moment when we revise what we've done in order to start developing things. I have created a form. If you click on this link, you will be able to open it. This form involves different questions, statements for you to engage with. It will help you, as I said before, to go back a little bit in the thinking process. Remember what you have already developed as part of your outline design in order to help you think about what you need to do next. Remember, this part of the STEP process, it is about developing a learning material that could be a video, a podcast, a blog, an infographic, Google Slides, interactive activities, or a combination of all of this. If you are part of a big group, let's say between 3 to 4 people, well, you might want to decide to develop one learning material each and then bring them all together and present them in one virtual learning environment. But that's up to you. You could also just focus on one of them. This is where you start taking decisions about how much you want to invest in this process to learn about course design. So if you click on this link, let's just click on it. We'll start revising the topic of our online course, the different course modules that are comprising the course unit, the pedagogical approaches that we are promoting, the teaching context. This is where we revisit that teaching context, because whatever we decide to involve in terms of activities, in terms of digital tools, will be influenced by the context. And the learning needs, the learner's needs, disabilities, ages, the institutional context. So always keep in mind that target context, the target participants. Then decide whether you want to present your online learning material in either Canvas, Perusall, Blackboard, Articulate, or any other virtual learning environment that you are familiar with and that is relevant to your own institution, to your own context. You don't have to just choose Western tools, especially if you don't plan to, continue working in the UK or any other European country, and you need to go back to your own home country. Then it would be ideal for you to choose digital tools that are relevant where you will be actually working, for instance. We talked about the idea of considering, how you will make sure that your materials will address your students' needs and disabilities. We gave the example of videos including captions or even, choices of language to be presented and for students to choose from. The kind of material that you will be using, asynchronous, synchronous, is it going to be group, individual work? Is it a reading task, a video task? So thinking about different aspects. The format of your learning material. As I said, you could choose to present a video, which you will decide whether you want to be all involved in the development of it, or somebody develops a video, somebody develops a blog, so somebody develops a Google slide, and then you all present this in one page of your virtual learning environment. Up to you. The decision, as I said, is about your own learning process and how much you want to invest in the experience of developing an online course. So when you develop online materials, it is important that there's somebody in charge of, proofreading the pages, the material, editing, adding multimedia text, or improving in any other sense what you want to present to others. It is important as well that you think about the timeline to produce the material. We know that we have only 2 weeks for this, which is this one and next week, week 11. So who does what responsibilities everybody is assigned or given or chosen, when they need to be done and uploaded to our Padlet. We have a final Padlet for you to present your outcomes. And the last points are, how will you test and refine your learning material? Where this is where we start talking about a reality check, for instance, which we will conduct in week 12. When we present our material, we will receive feedback from our peers and from the tutors. Any other thoughts, observations that you want to keep in mind as you think about that learning material? You have space for that too. And as I mentioned just now, the reality check is all about getting peer feedback. So if you're a tutor, you might want to ask another tutor to have a look at your course outline, some of the materials that you have developed, to get some idea about, what other people's perspectives are, whether if it's clear, coherent, whether there are aspects that you didn't consider that could be useful to keep in mind to improve, whether the scaffolding process is clear, and so on and so forth. We normally do this at the University of Manchester. We have a committee who reads the course outline. We have a committee meeting, they give you feedback, and we go away with that feedback with the purpose of improving anything in the course outline. Then we get back to discussions until everybody is satisfied with, the proposed course unit. So we will do something like that, a bit less bureaucratic, perhaps more friendly and informal. When we present, you present your own outline and learning materials to others. And we will give you some feedback about, what we see, what affordances and potential challenges